There are many situations and many environments where people want to project things upon you. But these things are not your essence. Welcome back to Healing from Racism, Lessons from the Tao Te Ching, where I am using the passages of the Tao Te Ching to examine what racism is, where it begins, how we internalize it, and illuminate the pathway towards healing from racism. I'm Lisa Jagona, and in this video, I'm going to look at verse 7 of the Tao Te Ching, which says, "The Tao is infinite, eternal. Why is it eternal? It was never born, thus it can never die. Why is it infinite? It has no desire for itself, thus it is present for all beings. The Master stays behind, that is why she is ahead. She is detached from all things, that is why she is one with them. Because she has let go of herself, she is perfectly fulfilled." The Tao Te Ching references the Master throughout, and so I want to take a minute to make a point about it, especially in this translation. In the introduction to his English translation, Stephen Mitchell notes that the Chinese language is not gendered. So the idea of the Master is not male or female. It is rather feminine and masculine. Unfortunately, in translating to English, one must choose either the female or male pronouns. Mitchell decides to use both the male and female pronouns for the Master, alternating between chapters to create a semblance of balance that is in the original text. The point being, no matter who you are, you have the potential to be the Master by striving to live in harmony and centering your life in the Tao. In previous episodes, I've talked about how racism creates dualities. These dualities create separateness. But the Tao within reminds us that we are in fact part of something infinite and eternal. It is present for all beings. When you recognize what is at your core, and you honor that part that is connected to the infinite and the eternal, you hold on to the center. Anchored, you are able to overcome man's limitations and limiting imagination for what is possible. By recognizing and acknowledging and honoring that part within yourself, you see it within others. You become able to engage with others, honoring that part within them, even when they are caught in delusions and illusions that arise from the separateness. There are many situations and many environments where people want to project things upon you. But these things are not your essence. They are not who you are, or who you would choose to be if you were to fully engage your full free will. Instead, they aim to limit and constrict you and make you forget who you are, that you are the child of the Great Mother. The Master, it says, is detached from all things. That is why she is one with them. And the use of detached is important and interesting here, because detachment here doesn't mean to lack empathy or lack feeling or to lack compassion. No, instead, it's the ability to not allow things to stick to you. By knowing the Tao exists within you and within all things, you see the illusions and avoid getting attached to the things that arise from those veils. It's the ability to separate what is yours, what is somebody else's, and then what is arising from the social constructs and the ideas that define what ought to be. Instead, you are able to see what is. You are able to see yourself and others more clearly, past the ought to be's. So detachment is the ability to identify the narratives and to step aside them, and so that they don't stick to you. It arises from knowing who you are. It's this ability to detach from illusion allows you to remain centered and connected to the infinite and the eternal. It is very important for healing because when you are able to hold true to yourself, knowing who you are, whose you are, you can stand apart. Racism is nothing but a projection. It's interesting to think what creates the need for this projection. Why is it necessary for someone else to be less so that you can feel significant? What is going on within your essence that you cannot feel the wholeness within without someone else being cast down? In a world where we overesteem great men, many people feel lacking, insignificant, inadequate, powerlessness, even when they have plenty. And so here too, it is important to recognize where that sense of lack is coming from. It is the ego that feels insignificant. Your essence is already whole and complete, but because of great attachment to the ego, which is plastered with all these ideas of what it should be, what it ought to be, you suffer. And so detachment is also meaning detachment from the ego. It is the ego that is under attack when people project stereotypes and presumptions onto you. If you are not attached to this body and this container, but rather are able to tap into the expansiveness of the infinite and the eternal, you can be truly whole. You can be free to move and go wherever you need to go and do what you need to do to answer your calling and live into your fullness. And so I invite you, what do you feel? What do you think? What do you remember as you contemplate this idea of being part of something infinite and eternal? This video series is an accompaniment to my book, Healing from Racism. If you want to be on the waiting list for it, use the link in the description below to sign up. And I will see you next time where I will explore verse 8 of the Tao Te Ching. And until then, be well.